The Chicago Sky just pulled off the most controversial move in WNBA history, and Angel Reese is at the center of it all. What started as a simple exit interview turned into complete chaos that has the entire league talking. The Sky organization literally canceled all exit interviews at the last possible moment, leaving reporters stunned and fans demanding answers about what really went down behind closed doors. Before we dive into this absolute mess, make sure you hit that like button if you want more breaking WNBA content, because what I'm about to reveal will change how you see this entire situation. The drama started when Angel Reese threw her teammate Courtney Vandersloot under the bus during what was supposed to be a routine interview. She basically called out Vandersloot's performance and leadership in front of everyone, which is something you just don't do to a veteran who's been with the organization for years. The tension in that locker room must have been absolutely insane because even Ariel Atkins, who wasn't directly mentioned, seemed offended by Angel's comments, according to multiple sources close to the team. But here's where things get really wild. The Sky organization originally announced that Vandersloot, Atkins, and Angel would be conducting their exit interviews at a later date, trying to buy time to let things cool down. They waited almost a month hoping the drama would die down, but instead, it got worse. Annie Costabile just dropped the bombshell tweet that sent shockwaves through the WNBA community, announcing that all three players would no longer be conducting any exit interviews whatsoever. This is unprecedented in professional basketball, where exit interviews are standard procedure for every single player. What makes this even more shocking is that Angel Reese actually went ahead and gave her own exit interview to a newspaper, completely bypassing the organization. Within 20 minutes of the Sky announcing no exit interviews, Angel posted on social media asking fans to submit questions for her podcast. She's literally creating her own media narrative while the Sky organization scrambles to control the damage. This level of dysfunction hasn't been seen since the Dwight Howard Lakers disaster, and that's saying something considering how bad that situation was. The timing couldn't be worse for Chicago because this franchise just went from championship contender to complete disaster in record time. They won a title in 2021, were competitive in 2022, and decent in 2023. But now they're the laughingstock of the league. The Marina Mabrey trade completely mortgaged their future, and they didn't even get back what they needed in return. They got a lottery pick, sure, but at what cost to team chemistry and organizational stability? Meanwhile, over in Indiana, Caitlin Clark and the Fever are thriving with actual team chemistry and professional leadership. Sophie Cunningham has been showing what real professionalism looks like, helping her team stay focused on basketball instead of drama. The contrast between these two organizations couldn't be more obvious right now. One team is building something special, while the other is imploding from within. But let's talk about what Angel Reese said that caused all this chaos, because the actual comments weren't even that controversial on the surface. She basically pointed out that Vandersloot wasn't performing at the level expected of a veteran leader, which honestly might have been true. The problem is, when you're a teammate, you don't air that dirty laundry publicly. A general manager can criticize players because they don't share a locker room. But when teammates turn on each other like this, it destroys any chance of rebuilding trust. The real question everyone's asking is whether Angel Reese can survive this controversy or if this will define her entire career moving forward. She's undeniably talented and brings entertainment value. But if she goes to another team and similar drama follows, then we'll know exactly what kind of player she really is. Right now, she gets the benefit of the doubt because the Sky organization has been dysfunctional for years. But one more incident like this and her reputation will be permanently damaged. What's even crazier is that other teams are watching this situation closely, trying to figure out if they should take a chance on Angel in free agency. Some executives are reportedly concerned about bringing that kind of drama into their locker rooms, while others think she just needs better leadership and structure around her. The market for her services might be smaller than expected after this disaster of a season ending. The Sky organization's handling of this situation has been absolutely pathetic from start to finish. They could have just announced from the beginning that certain players wouldn't be doing exit interviews due to scheduling conflicts, but instead they strung everyone along for weeks. Now reporters who cleared their schedules and prepared questions are left with nothing while the organization looks completely incompetent. This is exactly why free agents don't want to sign with Chicago anymore, because the dysfunction starts at the top and trickles all the way down. If you're enjoying this breakdown of the chaos in Chicago, drop a comment below with your thoughts on whether Angel Reese deserves the criticism or if the Sky organization is to blame for this mess. The more engagement we get, the more insider information I can bring you about what's really happening behind the scenes in the WNBA. The comparison to Jimmy Butler's time in Minnesota is actually perfect here because both situations involve talented players who couldn't coexist with their teammates. Butler famously destroyed that Timberwolves locker room with his practice antics and public comments about his teammates, just like Angel is doing now in Chicago. The difference is Butler was already an established star who could get away with it, while Angel is still trying to prove herself in this league. Sources close to the situation are saying that Vandersloot was absolutely furious about being called out publicly and threatened to demand a trade if the organization didn't handle it properly. Well, clearly they didn't handle it properly because now nobody's talking, and the whole thing has become an even bigger story than it needed to be. Vandersloot has been nothing but professional her entire career, and to have a younger player disrespect her like this must have been incredibly frustrating. The ripple effects of this drama are already being felt throughout the league as other teams are reconsidering how they handle exit interviews and media availability. Some organizations are implementing new policies about what players can and can't say about teammates in public forums. The Sky's disaster is actually forcing the entire WNBA to reevaluate how they manage player relationships and media interactions, which shows just how badly they've handled this situation. Angel Reese posting that video asking for podcast questions right after the cancellation announcement is either genius marketing or completely tone-deaf, depending on how you look at it. She's clearly trying to control her own narrative and build her brand outside of basketball. But doing it at this exact moment shows she either doesn't care about the team drama or she's actively trying to distance herself from the organization. Either way, it's not a good look for someone who claims to be all about winning and team success. The fact that Ariel Atkins got dragged into this mess without even being directly mentioned shows how toxic the environment has become in Chicago. She's been a solid professional her entire career, and now she's caught up in drama that has nothing to do with her actual performance on the court. No wonder she didn't want to do an exit interview, because anything she said would have been twisted into more controversy about the Angel situation. This whole disaster really makes you appreciate organizations like Connecticut and Las Vegas who handle their business professionally even when things aren't going well. They might not have the best facilities or the biggest budgets, but at least their players respect each other, and the coaching staff maintains control of the locker room. The Sky used to be in that category of professional organizations, but this season has completely destroyed their reputation. The timing of Angel's newspaper interview is particularly interesting because she knew the team was trying to coordinate official exit interviews, but went ahead anyway. That's a direct challenge to the organization's authority and shows she doesn't respect the chain of command. No wonder they canceled everything, because how can you have official team interviews when your star player is already out there creating her own media moments without permission? What's really sad is that this drama is overshadowing what could have been a decent season for some of the Sky's younger players who actually showed improvement. Now, instead of talking about player development and future potential, everyone's focused on the locker room dysfunction and organizational chaos. Those players deserve better than to have their careers affected by drama they didn't create. The comparison to the Dwight Howard Lakers situation is actually being generous to the Sky, because at least the Lakers had championship aspirations and veteran leadership trying to hold things together. The Sky don't even have that foundation to fall back on, which makes this collapse even more spectacular. They've gone from respectable franchise to complete joke in one season, which has to be some kind of record for organizational incompetence. Looking ahead to next season, the Sky have massive decisions to make about their roster and coaching staff. Do they try to trade Angel and rebuild around different players? Or do they clear out everyone else and build around her talent despite the drama she brings? Neither option looks particularly appealing right now, which is why this franchise might be stuck in mediocrity for years to come. The fact that 3 team leaders were specifically identified as not doing exit interviews tells you everything about the state of this organization. These are supposed to be the players setting the example for everyone else, but instead, they're the ones creating all the drama. How can younger players be expected to act professionally when the veterans and stars are behaving like this? This situation also raises questions about Teresa Weatherspoon's ability to manage personalities and maintain locker room discipline. She came in with high expectations but clearly lost control of the team at some point during the season. Whether that's her fault or the player's fault is debatable, but ultimately the coach has to take responsibility for what happens with their team. The Sky organization needs to take a long, hard look at their culture and figure out how they went from championship contender to this disaster so quickly. It's not just about one player or one coach, but the entire organizational structure that allowed things to deteriorate this badly. Until they address those fundamental issues, they'll continue to be the dysfunction capital of the WNBA. As we wrap up this absolute train wreck of a story, remember to subscribe and hit that notification bell because the drama in Chicago is far from over and you won't want to miss what happens next. Whether Angel Reese stays or goes and whether the Sky can recover from this disaster will be the biggest storylines heading into the offseason. One thing's for sure, the WNBA has never seen organizational chaos quite like this, and we're all watching to see how it ends.